Hi guys, so today we're tackling one of the most asked questions in relation to gel-X, and it's why are my gel-X nails popping off? Today we're gonna get started with just a few tips on how you can keep them on. I've been doing gel-X for a few months now and I really do enjoy it. Mistake number one would be skipping proper nail prep. And you don't ever want to do that because that really helps with the retention of your nails. I took my previous set off and I did buff away like the excess acrylic that was on the nail. So I won't be buffing it again because I don't want to damage my nail. Too much buffing can damage your nail plate. It can weaken it. We don't want that. So first thing I'll do, I'll push back my cuticles. It's gonna be this skin right here. So I'm gonna, sometimes it grows onto the nail plate. This is the nail plate, by the way. Sometimes this part grows down onto the nail plate. When you put a nail tip over that grown out cuticle, it there's gonna be a barrier. That's gonna be the barrier between the nail tip and the actual nail plate. So as the nail grows out, it will have that lifting because it's on top of the cuticle and not actually the nail plate that's been etched. Etched meaning that the nail plate is buffed and it has the ridges that the gel will slide into and give you that proper adhesion. So can you see the scratches on my nail? That's when you know your nail has been properly filed. This white thing right here, the cuticle, you need to get rid of that because that's gonna cause lifting. When doing this process, you have to be really gentle. So if you look right here, you'll see a line of whiteness. You see that line right here that we just pushed the cuticle from? All right, so I keep saying cuticle. It's not actually your cuticle. The skin is called the eponychium, and the white thing is the cuticle. So let's refer to it as that. It's just that's a long word, and the everybody knows right here as the cuticles. So I feel like that's easier for you guys to know what I'm talking about, but I should call it the actual word. But anyways, right here, this line of white, that's the cuticle. Let's see. Right here you have nothing at the top here, so I'm gonna push it back. Let's see if we can expose some of that cuticle. So nothing much on this nail, just on the sides. So let's talk nail tools. You can use your e-file with a sanding band to buff your nails, or you could use this small one, to buff the nails as well. The difference, there's not much difference. They do the same thing, it's just that this is bigger. If you have a bigger nail, like my thumb for example, and you want to get the job done quicker, you could just use the bigger one because it takes up more nail surface. Or if you have a really small nail and you're not comfortable using the bigger sanding band, you could just use this smaller one. It gets right into the corners. And the grit that I always use for my sanding bands are 240. Now, if you don't have an e-file, or if you don't have one, you don't have to use one. You can use your nail file. I prefer to use the 180 side because the 100 side is a bit too harsh for the natural nails. So you use the 180 side and you'll gently just go over the nail and try to get as much nail surface as you possibly can. Or you could use a buffer. The buffer works just as well, and it is a little bit more, it's softer, so you won't hurt yourself. Just go right over it. You can even run it into your epinicium line. Just be careful not to cut yourself. So you could just run it right in there. I'm gonna do that for this thumb. Just right in the line, not on the nail bed itself, just right up here where we expose the cuticle. That's it. Now if you do have your e-file, you can use a sanding band, or you could use one of these. This is a diamond bit that it's safe to use on the nail plate itself. You can go over the nail plate and you can use this to remove your cuticles. So I'll be using this today. I'll be using it on reverse because this is my dominant hand, and that's the, well, I'll use it at a 3. And 3 means 3,000, by the way. Now that we buffed our nail, cleaned up the cuticle just a bit, we can go in and dehydrate and prime. Now it's very important to dehydrate your nails. That just means you're wiping off all the oil and any lotion or anything that might be on top of the nail. You want it to be as dry as possible because oil will lift the gel off your nail. If you have a spray bottle, you can fill it with alcohol, spray your nail, get it nice and wet, then use your nail brush and really rub that in. See how dry that is? Or if you have the pump, you can get your I'm running out, but get that and give your nail a good wipe. See how dry that is? That's what we want. So I love these two primers. I'll use them both or I'll just use one. Usually I'll use this by itself. Get yourself a good bonder. When I started doing acrylic, I used to use the Mia Secret dehydrator and bonder. You can buy the dehydrator. It's basically just alcohol, or mostly alcohol, of course used to dehydrate the nails. Take the moisture out, remove the oil. This, like the bonder, act as a glue to hold the extension to your nails. You don't really want to get these on your skin. And you have different types of bonders. You have the acid one and the non-acid one. I would recommend non-acid, of course. I'm going in with the second primer. And primer and bonder is essentially the same thing. You don't need two. You can just get one. The Model One's dehydrator and primer works beautifully as well. And I've used the one from Honey Nail Secret before. I like that too. So you have different nail tips that you can use. You can use just regular plain ones. A great tip is to use your sanding band and just etch inside, like right like this amount, right in here. Just etch that. That's gonna create more adhesion. I don't etch these nails. This is the nails that I got. This is from Shein. I don't etch them, they stay on just as fine. But if you do have the same ones and they're popping off, maybe you need to etch them. You also have nail tips that comes pre-etched. Let me see if I can show you how it looks. Like, this is how it looks from the front. I got these also from Shein, but they don't fit me, so I don't use them. For the sake of the video, I'll show you how to etch it. You see? This is how it looks. And you would just put it right on. So mistake number 4 is using too much gel or using too little gel. So right here, you're gonna see me put on the base slip layer and then a glob of gel. That's too much. So what will happen is when you go to put that nail on, you'll have the gel spilling onto your sidewalls and cuticle on your skin. That's a no-no. We don't want the gel all over our skin. That's going to cause lifting. That's going to cause the nail to pop off. That's going to cause you to have an allergic reaction to the gel. So this is what we don't want. Now with this one, it's not much on the nail tip. It looks fine, but once I apply it, you'll see that we have some air bubbles in it, and it doesn't go all the way down to the nail tip, which is, well, the natural nail tip. It doesn't go down all the way to my natural nail tip. So that will lift off. That will cause the nail to fly off within a day or two. You don't really want any big air bubbles. Tiny ones are fine, but the bigger ones, no, because that's a gap in the nail that will cause the nail to lift off. So let me show you what's the proper amount that you need. I also recommend getting like a small nail lamp like this. It's easier when you're going to apply your nail tip instead of using the big nail lamps that you have to push your hand into. If that's the only thing you have, try to prop it up on something so that you can put your full hand in or your full finger in when you're holding the nail tip. So I'm gonna put this up high so it's easier to place the nail on the finger. So I'm just sizing up the nail tip, make sure it fits from my sidewall to the other sidewall. None of my natural nail is exposed, because having a nail tip that's smaller than your nail can actually cause your nail to pop off. So the first thing we want to do is to put a tiny bit of polish onto the nail tip, just sweeping it all over so that when we put that glob of nail polish or gel polish, once we apply it to the nail, it will easily slide down the nail tip and slide down onto the natural nail because of that base layer that we put down. So I do one swipe. That's a little glob. I'll take the rest off. That is enough for my thumb. So I'm going to hold it at an angle, put it in line with my cuticle. So holding it at an angle, put it in line with the cuticle, start from, where you saw, and then I'll press everything down. When I see that the gel reaches the tip of my natural nail, I'll put it under the lamp to cure it. So we're just doing a flash cure, which means you can just cure it for 10 seconds, 10, 20, 30 seconds. And then once you're finished all the nails, you can just put it in your big lamp so it can finish setting. So I'll turn on my mini lamp first, line up the nail so that it doesn't go on crooked, press it into that cuticle and hold down until the gel itself goes straight to the tip of that natural nail, and then I'll put it under the lamp, cure it for a few seconds, and then move on to the next nail. My last tip is to make sure you're curing your nails properly, not putting enough pressure on the nail tip while you're putting the gel on. That can cause lifting as well. So you want to hold it firmly on the nail while you're pressing it to let the gel go to the tip of the nail. Hold it firmly straight into the light. Keep holding it until it's fully cured for that 10 or 20 seconds, and then you can move on to the next nail. So these are all my tips that I have. Play around with it. Even if it pops off, don't get too frustrated. You have to find out what works for your nails, and you need to take into consideration as well, if you have oily nail beds, you need extra prep to really get down a routine to get your nails a bit dry so that your nails don't pop off. Try out different brands. If one brand doesn't work, try another one. They're the primers and dehydrators. They're really inexpensive, so you can definitely try them out. Those three that I mentioned, the Mia Secret, that's a bit pricey, but it wasn't like that back then. The Model Ones, the Honey Nail Secret, try those out, see if those work for you. Another tip too, you don't have to go directly to the cuticle to apply the Gel X extension. You can do it like midway on the nail and then overlay the nail with builder gel for extra strength. So again, if you're struggling or if you have been struggling, you're not alone. It really does take practice, but just know that it is definitely possible. So if this helped you out a bit, you can hit the like, drop your questions below. Don't forget to subscribe for more nail tips, and I'll see you guys next week.